Hey guys, haven't done a video in a while, so I thought I'd just do a quick video of what's going on. Basically I moved back to Cairns from Wodonga now, so I don't have any of my stuff to do videos on really. So all my laser cutter and everything else is still down there, so all I've really got is, well, my little laptop there, and that's basically it. The rest of the stuff I've had to buy, or no, my tripod, but yeah. So I suppose the first thing, I decided to buy a hazer, even though it's not really a hazer. I mean, most of the water-based hazers, they call them hazers these days, are basically just phasers in like a hazer-looking package. But the definition of a true hazer is actually an oil-based thing with a compressor, but these are basically just fog machines with a fan on them. And most of them are like that these days anyway. Oil's not too common anymore because people get annoyed with it getting all through the aircon vents and whatever. Not such a huge problem with temporary things, but you know, in clubs where they'd be exposed to fog for like all day every day, then you know, I suppose it'll build up. So yeah, this is a Chauvet Hurricane Haze 2, I think it says it there. Oh yeah, it's on the front. Haze 2D. And I don't have any proper fluid for it, and I think that's an issue because where's my torch? Can't see it that well, but there's a lot of fluid leaking out of the nozzle. So presumably the mix is wrong, and it's not vaporizing the fluid completely. But the reason being is that it's probably because I'm just using regular fog juice at the moment. But I have a heap of that. So this cool little door at the back. So yeah, it's just regular fog juice in there, which is actually got heaps of it down in that bottle there. That's the box it came in. But yeah. Oh, there's the remote for it. Kinda cool. Lens cap. Yeah, this is just a basic hazer. I wanted something that had DMX just so I could control it a bit more, and this one does. It's got 2-channel DMX, so even though it's just a phaser, really it does what I want. So yeah, you have manual control on the back, so you can put the fan on. Got 5 different levels. And you've got the haze, which is also 5 different levels. So that's 1, which is actually quite a decent amount. And if you put it up to full, that's when you start getting a lot of like leftover liquid. That is a lot of smoke, I suppose. So yeah. D is for the DMX addressing. But yeah, that's just something to play around with. I mean, it's a bit better than fog machines for the stuff I do, like laser shows, because it distributes itself better and it can go continuously. It doesn't need to warm up after the initial warm up, which is actually really short. It's less than a minute. And of course the battery goes flat on the camera. But anyway, what was I saying? I don't know, I can't remember. But anyway, I'm working on trying to get some proper recommended fluid for this thing. All that'll actually change is just the glycerin to water ratio. So once I get some proper fluid, I can probably figure out the ratio and then just use normal fog juice and maybe dilute it, or even concentrate it a bit. I'd say diluting because this thing puts out a hell of a lot of smoke. Even on the lowest setting it's sort of too much, so I'd say diluting is what needs to happen, but I'll try and get some proper fluid first and then go from there. So I've connected the remote. You can see it's just got interval, duration, output, and then the 3 buttons. It's got a green and a red light. I think the green light's a ready light and the red's just power because it doesn't seem to change anything. But yeah, I've already I just bought it, but I've already had it open, and it uses a pretty simple microcontroller, just an ATmega 16 or something or other, and there's a few potentiometers on the board as well, so there's a possibility I might be able to crank up the heater temperature in here. But yeah, because my theory is that the heater's not getting hot enough to vaporize all the fluid, so their special fluid probably has a lower, maybe even just adding more water lowers the don't know what you call it, boiling temperature, fogging, whatever it's called. So yeah, I'll try and get some proper fluid. Problem with this brand is they're sort of an American, well, primarily American brand, so their stuff's not as easy to get over here. Like, I had to order this in from the UK just because it had the 230 volt. Yeah, this is the 230 volt version, so you got to watch out for that you don't get the 120 if you live in a 240 area. A 220 and a 230 volt device will work in 240, and you know, so there's a bit of tolerance there, but you know, it can't be 120 and 240 unless it has a little selector switch on the side, or it's a switch mode power supply. But yeah, because of the dripping fluid everywhere, I've made my own little modification already. It's just a little rubber grommet there around the output nozzle, and that's because there's a fairly large hole there where the nozzle comes out, and the fluid is running back down the pipe and dripping inside the unit down in there. Yeah, to see it very well. Yeah, can't really see it that well anyway. So yeah, that's actually a sponge down there, and the idea of that's to catch all the dripping fluid. So that sort of works in a way, but it's spitting out a lot of fluid. So if I put this on, you don't have any fan control on the remote. You do on the back and you do on DMX, but none on here, which would have been handy to have just another knob. 4 knobs total, but anyway. So first you have a manual button, which just, and I'm not sure if the volume control knob actually adjusts the manual. Actually it does here. So you can hear the pump. If I put it on full power, just listen, you can hear it going dit, dit, dit. That's actually the pump, and that's how they vary the output. They just pulse it like that. So if I turn this all the way down, you can hear it's going much slower. So instead of actually varying the frequency the pump's being driven at, they just pulse it on and off, which works, but it's kind of cheating in a way, but you know, whatever works. Continuous, just once again, just powers it constantly, and you've got control of this. See, that's a lot of fog for the lowest level, so that's why I think the fluid probably needs to be a bit diluted. And then of course you've got timer, which you know every good fog machine and everything has, so which I probably won't use that much. The real thing I wanted was continuous. That's what I really wanted, as well as 2-channel DMX control, so that's got that as well, which not many cheap hazers and phasers from China do. I mean, this is made in China of course, but this has all the stuff, the controls I wanted, so I paid a little bit extra for this instead of a cheap Chinese phaser. Yeah, that's on timer now. Seem to see that turned itself on and off. See, it's set on the lowest timer setting, but if you want, you can actually unplug the controller, and you can actually use this like a fog machine. Oops, wrong button. So that's fan. You can put it on haze, and if you put that up, you basically just got a fog machine. Yeah, and you can also just run the fan by itself too. Apart from that, I bought a heap of LED strip and controllers, and that's a pretty cool project for the Christmas lighting. You can see all the paper backing off the strips down here. I've already actually put them up, so when it gets a bit closer to Christmas I'll do a video on that. I won't turn them on yet because it's a bit too early for Christmas lighting, but I bought a few power supplies from China, just cheap switch modes ones, and this is a 5 amp version, and this basically starts smoking as soon as you put a load on it, so that was a bit of a pain. So it's all running off a single 12 volt 15 amp power supply at the moment, but I'm using about 30 meters of speaker cable, decent gauge but not very big at all for what I'm trying to carry, and I'm getting a fair bit of voltage drop on that, so I might need a power supply at the other end, but I don't really have anything except for that computer power supply down there. And it's only really noticeable if everything is on full white, which isn't going to, well, you don't want full white for Christmas anyway. The whole idea of RGB is to change colours, so yeah. But anyway, thanks for watching. I'm intending to get all my stuff back in about a month, so after that I'll get the laser cutter, start doing some more cutting on that and finish it up, make it look good. And I'm also probably going to start offering some services with it, like laser surface mount stencils or something, but yeah, I'll sort of figure that all out and then put it up on my website once it's ready. So thanks for watching, and I'll do another video once I've got something else interesting, probably the Christmas lighting. Anyway.